All right, so we have another episode. This is going to be very exciting too. I mean, I get excited with all of my episodes, but this one is special, and I'm going to let you know just why. But don't forget that this is Itu, your host of Expand the Fires show. That's right, where we get engines just going and the fires expanding, and we want to inspire you and give you tools, tricks, and tips and some inspiration that helps you on your day-to-day business. And all we want to do is give you as much information or anything else that we can give you to help you get to where you want to go and build your business, harder, better, faster, stronger, just like the song says. That's right. So in today's episode, what we're going to talk about is it's never too late to follow your dreams. Yeah. Okay, good. So let me just tell you about the very, very special guest that we got for you today. A little bit of mystery here, the way I like doing it. She lives in Spanish Fork, Utah, mhm, was raised in El Salvador and Honduras. We got some Latino fire going on here. That's right. Just the way I like it. Okay, check this out. This is the first time we've had somebody like this in our show, and we're very proud and very happy. So, she is a working actress. Mhm. And if that wasn't enough to keep her busy, she's also a social media influencer and a marketer. Mhm. This woman she's like Wonder Woman. How does she do so many things at the same time? I don't know, but we're about to find out. So, she stars in short films, feature films, TV commercials, and social media videos. As a social media influencer, she is best known as Rita Repulsa, a villain on a Power Rangers parody created by Ninja Kids TV, which went viral back in 2017. A year and a half later, she started her own YouTube channel, reaching Ninja Kids fans all over the world. As a local marketer, she helps companies in Utah grow their Hispanic clientele by creating local campaigns that reach the Latino community through her ad agency, Creativo. Creativo. I don't know how to say that in English. I'm just going to say it in Spanish. Creativo. Yeah, it kind of sounds better in Spanish. Now, I always like telling a little bit of the backstory of all of the heroes that we have here. So let me just you're not gonna see this coming, but I'll let you in something. It's not secret, but it's a special. Having married her high school sweetheart very, very, very young, mhm, became a teen mom. And at the beginning, her family struggled financially while her children were young. But later on, a friend introduced her to the marketing world, which changed her life. And she absorbed everything she learned and worked with, and all her heart to create, putting all of her heart into creating a career she once thought was too late for her to achieve. If that doesn't inspire you, I don't know what will. So let's just get started and welcome back to another Expand Fire show. Here we go. Let's get rocking. Let's welcome Carla Hernandez here with us. Yay!
Hi. Hi, Itu. Thank you so much for having me. And you made me smile the whole time listening to that introduction. Thank you so much. You were so kind.
No, thank you, thank you. We love our guests. They're all VIPs for us. So, uh-huh.
Oh, thank you.
We are honored to have somebody like you on our show. This is just amazing, amazing
Oh,
for all of us, and especially for me because I get to interview you.
thank you so much. How fun. I'm excited. I love your intro, by the way. It's so fun. That music, I love it.
Yeah, yeah, because I keep saying I like rock, so let's just rock and roll, baby.
I love it.
So please tell us, how does a woman, a child basically, is able to reach her dreams no matter what?
Yeah. Hmm. Well, yes. I love that this show is called It Is Never Too Late to Reach Your Dreams, Itu, because that's exactly what I lived as a child. There were two things I dreamed of. One was being a teacher, and the other one was being an actress, just being in front of the camera. I always admired actresses and thought, how did they get to that? I had a first grade teacher that I loved, and she was on TV commercials. And I remember admiring her and wondering, how did she do that? How could she be on TV? And then, my path started going a different way than what I expected. I got married when I was only 15 years old, and I
Jesus.
had, yeah. Yes, and I had my first baby at 16. So you can just imagine, Itu, what people told me. I lived in Honduras at the time, and I feel like they were trying to save me, but what they would tell me was to not have my baby, to give my baby an adoption, and I just knew that that was not an option for me. I wanted to have my baby, but they were concerned because of my age.
Mm.
And I gave all my heart to become a mother that young. My husband was only 16. I was 15. He was 16.
Damn.
And he also gave up his dreams in a way and just started working really hard to provide for us.
Hmm.
So I was a stay at home mom for 10 years and raised three children. And I really, even though my children, my husband, my home gave me so much joy, Itu, there was something missing. There was something that I felt like I needed to feel complete, but I could not figure out what it was. And it was that I had some dreams that I felt I could not achieve anymore. I felt that because I went a certain path, that's it. It's too late for me.
Mm.
So when I was 26 years old, our basement got flooded and we had no money to pay for it. My husband was the only provider at the house. And I called my best friend and said, help me get a job, anything. I just need to work. And she said, before you go get a job, Carla, let me just teach you about what I do for a living. I'm in marketing. She sold English radio commercials for Cozy in Utah. And as a part time, as an added thing, she also sold airtime on a Latino Mexican radio station called Radio Fiesta. And this was in 2002. Did you ever hear about that, Itu? That radio station?
No,
No?
not myself, because I haven't been in Utah, but
Okay. Yeah, it was called Radio Fiesta back then. And like I said, this was 2002. And I just went to her house. And as a good friend, she trained me for free. She was just helping me out as a friend. There were nothing attached. There was nothing that she would gain from this. She just was being a good friend. So I shadowed her at her office. I shadowed her at her home. Um, my husband was very supportive, and we took care of the kids. When one was working, one would stay home and switch. And I shadowed her enough that I felt ready to go and get interviewed by Radio Fiesta. I learned enough from her that it seemed as if I had all this experience, which I did not.
always
I
a little
kind
bit of
of,
actress there.
yeah, that's true. It's true. Since I'm little, I have a lot of experiences where I didn't know that I was using acting skills. I didn't know it, but that's exactly what I was doing. So
Good on
yeah,
you.
I like I was telling you earlier, Itu is as if I just jumped in the pool without knowing how to swim and figuring it out. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And also something I mentioned to you earlier is I something and I would think that the ingredient that I possessed at the moment, I really had a huge drive. I have been home for 10 years. Just think of it as when we get quarantined too much, we're like, please let me out.
We all know how that feels. Everybody around the world.
Yeah. So I just like had this need to get out there, right? After being really in this bubble, not knowing much of what was going out. Like my whole concentration had been being a stay-at-home mom, babysitting children and doing whatever. But I also went through a very difficult time financially. Imagine just living in a third world country, being 15 and being married and try to make ends meet. Very hard. I mean, I literally, no washer or dryer. I literally was washing my baby's cloth diapers by hand, washing
Wow.
my clothes by hand, all of that. Um, and so I was ready to just make things happen and help my husband, bring food to the table. So that's what I had. That's why I feel like I absorbed everything and just did it.
Mhm.
So I went to this interview and I just laid out there everything I had learned with her, acted as if I had all the experience, and I was hired immediately.
Wow.
So I learned a lot working in radio. It moved me to TV. I 3 months later I was hired. Univision hired me as a sales rep,
Mhm.
and quickly I became number one in sales. Again, it was
Wow.
this drive. It was this drive. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
So just 1 year after.
yeah. So actually, Radio Fiesta was 3 months. Then Univision hired me. And a few months later, I was already number one in sales. And 1 year after Univision hired me, I was offered the position of the sales manager
Wow.
at Univision. And
Mhm.
this was all so unreal to me because, again, I didn't go to college at the age I should have gone to college. I was raising babies, right? And so I feel like I did things kind of backwards, which led me to think it was too late for me to
Right.
follow my dreams.
I can
Because
understand.
you didn't do the things at the age that you were told that you're supposed to, so you missed out. Does that make
Hmm.
sense?
Totally makes
That's
sense.
kind of what I thought.
Hmm.
And but again, it took a friend to give me a little push to say, yes, you can. Like, I think you could do my job so well. And that maybe was just the push I needed to have someone to have faith in me and to lend a hand. And so I took it with all my heart and just gave it my all. And I loved my position as a sales manager at Univision. I loved that I was in charge of a team, that I was there to motivate them and train them how to get their sales up. And I loved all about that. But there was one little thing that I wasn't 100% happy with, and that is that I had to work such long hours and I'm a mom.
Hmm.
And so I was gone 12, 13 hours a day.
Hmm.
And so it was killing me to just be outside of the home that long. Um, my husband, again, my teenager husband, who now he's like 30, right? Now by now. He even quit his job to be a stay-at-home dad because my
Wow.
job now required so much time, and my job was able to supply enough for the family. But I
Okay.
still, but you know what? Yeah, I mean, it was great to switch places. I'm like, how do you like it now? Do you see how hard it is?
This is what I went through. See, you do it for 10 years now.
After 3 months, he's like, please, let's find another solution. Like after 3 months, he was like, "That's enough."
It's hilarious.
so so anyway, my mother's guilt was just pushing at me, and that was the only thing that was making me unhappy because everything else I loved. I really, really loved. So I decided to quit my sales manager position and to open an advertising agency named Creativo, which I still have.
Hmm.
So I opened Creativo LLC in 2005. So
Hmm.
I've had it for over 15 years.
Damn.
Hmm. And so that was the perfect thing to do because everything I had learned at Univision, I was able to implement because I usually, my main accounts were advertising agencies. So I was able to learn a lot from them
Hmm.
and felt strong enough that I could open my own advertising agency, that I could operate from home and be home more. And my
Hmm.
husband could go back to work because he really wanted to go back to work.
That is funny.
Yeah. And so, 2005 was a great year for me because I became a business owner.
Hmm.
Um, I believe I was 30. I had to do the math, but I was 29 or 30. And I started my own business for the first time. I was able to work from home, and I thought, what if I pursue acting? I mean, it didn't seem so crazy anymore. You know what I mean? Because things that felt like unreachable before, I saw that I was able to do them. So then why not pursue more that I felt like maybe it was too late for me? And, I would mention it to people and they'd be like, "Ay, Carla." They're like, "Ay, Carla, don't you know that you have to be a kid to start acting? Um, I mean, it's cute hobby and all, but don't expect to make money." And I'm like, "I will show them."
You go, girl. You show them. God damn it.
And you know that the "I will show them" to me has been a motivator. My husband that I married when I was 15 and he was 16, this year will be our 30th wedding anniversary.
Damn.
And so people were so sad at our wedding because we were just kids getting married that our wedding was this funeral feel, right? And so when they said, los declaro marido y mujer, right? You are now husband and wife. We hugged each other so tight and we told each other, we will show them because everyone was acting so depressed. And everybody was telling us to be, to not get married and everything. And so the we will show them kind of helped us when we went through our very, very hard times to just do it anyway. And so that has stuck with me. You know what I mean? And so the same thing I thought when people told me, "You'll never make money acting. You're 30 and you're starting." And I'm like, "I will show them." And so I'm
Awesome.
happy to tell you that I did.
I love it. I love it. You're such a
So
warrior. I love it.
I thank you. So now I did have some direction, Itu, of what to do. Being at Univision taught me that, I worked with ad agencies that kind of directed me to open my ad agency. And I also would appear on my clients' TV commercials. And they didn't pay me to do it at the time, but it was some way for me to close the deal. If you close the deal, I'll be in your TV commercial. And so I felt like I need to start getting paid for this because I'm doing it for free.
Mm.
And one client was kind of telling another client, do you see that girl in my commercial? I didn't even pay her. And I'm like, what? I need to start getting paid for this, you know? And so, one nice client told my friend and I, remember the one that um, got me into marketing?
Hmm.
I hired her as a salesperson, and she was one of my number one salespeople. And so, somebody told her of a talent agency in town called Talent Management Group. They're one of the biggest talent agencies in town, and they really are looking for bilingual actors. They don't have that many bilingual actors, and this again is 2005. This is the year I started Creativo. So that's the same year that I
Wow.
went and auditioned for a talent agency.
Mhm.
And I really had no idea what I was doing. I really had no idea. They gave me a script and said, get familiar with it in the lobby, and then you're going to read it to me. And I was so nervous. The owner of the agency was so serious that it made me more nervous. And I gave it my all, but I know that I didn't do great.
Mm.
But I'm going to tell you what she said. She said, I don't know what it is, but I see something in you that I
Wow.
am going to give you a chance. And she said, plus, we have just no bilingual actors, and your Spanish is great, and you speak both languages, great. But because I really did not have acting experience at the time, she would just send me to auditions for, you know, um, small parts on TV commercials where you just say one sentence, and I
Yeah.
was fine with it at first, right? Um, it was all experience for me, but after a while, I'm like, I need to get better and prove to her that she can send me to better auditions.
You just wanted
So
more.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I mean, I was thankful, and I always am. And then when I feel like I got it, I'm like, okay, what's next,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And so I took an acting class, and oh my goodness, it opened my view like that,
Wow.
because I didn't get acting before then. I mean, being in a TV commercial from local Spanish media not is not the same. You just say one line, you know. But acting, I didn't get it until I went to that class.
Hmm.
And I don't know, Itu, if you've gotten into acting at all, or if it's an interest of yours.
Sure. I mean,
But
I would love to, but let's see. Why are you hiring? Can I send you my portfolio?
yeah. But I'm going to tell you something I learned is you don't fake the feelings, you actually really feel them.
Hmm.
That's how you do a good job. And so, if you act and you're faking what you're feeling, it's bad.
Hmm.
But if you learn to use that script and make it real in your head and live that emotion, that's what acting is supposed to be. And I learned that going to that class.
Wow.
And so I took what I learned and requested the agency for them to see me again. I was still contracted with them, but I wanted them to see that I learned so much.
Hmm.
And I
One
auditioned.
acting class. One acting class.
Yeah, one acting class. Yes.
You're amazing. Go on. Go on.
So with that acting class, I prepared this monologue that I learned how to do in that acting class, and just felt it. And when I auditioned again and said the monologue, I was prepared this time that the agency was just going to look at me straight in the eye, like, do your line looking at me, pretend I'm the camera. The first time that freaked me out. I'm like, but this time I knew what I was doing,
Hmm.
what to expect. And I was able to blur out her face and just get involved in this monologue and feel it and live it. And when I did that and I finished, it's like I came back to reality. And she's like, wow,
Nice.
yes. And then I started getting the bigger roles. Then I started being sent
Wow.
to the auditions I wanted to be sent to.
You're such an overachiever.
No, I'm just telling you my experiences, and like you told me earlier, the whole idea is to share this with others that maybe are stuck the way I was
Mhm.
and think there are certain dreams they have that they cannot achieve, and I want to share with them that you can, even if you're told it's too late or that you're too old. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to naysayers. If I would have listened, I would not have pursued acting because I did not want to do it just as a hobby. I wanted this to be my career. And I'm glad I didn't listen to them, you know?
It's just such an amazing story, Carla. I mean, you you wouldn't have you wouldn't have been married. You wouldn't have had your kids. You wouldn't
Hmm.
have been an actress. Uh-huh.
Hmm.
You wouldn't have been with your husband, who was your college or school sweetheart,
High
high
school
school,
sweetheart.
high
Yeah.
school sweetheart.
Yeah.
I mean, all of your life, everything that you had, uh-huh, would have gone to ashes, uh-huh,
Hmm.
if you would have had accepted the first no.
Correct.
Hmm.
And something about acting that people don't realize. Number one, you can make money at it even if you're not a Hollywood actor. And number two, everybody from smaller jobs to bigger jobs, everybody has to experience no, 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 a ton of no's. It's just happens in the acting world. So some people are not interested in pursuing it because they cannot handle so much rejection. But you can learn to. I have learned to not take it personal. I understand that if I go to an audition, even if I put all my heart into that audition, they probably saw 10 or more other actresses and they can only choose one.
Hmm.
And it could have been something that was out of my control. I could have looked too old or too young for that role, and that is enough to for them to select another actor. And I learned to see it that way, to not take it personal, because you do have to go through a lot of rejection as an
Hmm.
actor. It just everybody does. You know what I mean? So you
Hmm.
just have to learn. Something I learned to do, I study my audition and get into it and everything. When I'm done, I throw away the script, forget about the script. It didn't happen. So that I'm not like, did I get it? Are they going to call me? And then if I get a call saying you got it, I'm so overjoyed. Oh, I had forgotten about it. So that's how I learned to um, be okay with that rejection that you go through all the time as an actor, you know.
Wow.
And as you mentioned in your introduction, Itu, um, in the present time, I still, have my ad agency Creativo. I am a working actress, and a social media influencer is something I started in 2018, the end of 2018. So that is my newest job. I mean, I go like this because I feel like I have three jobs, but somehow they all connect.
Hmm.
Because even as a marketer, I do interviews and on camera work as a marketer. And then in acting, I'm on camera, social media influencer, I'm on camera. So I feel like they're all connecting. And the social media influencer was not a plan or a dream. It is just a door that opened for me. So if you start pursuing your dreams, be kind of alert of doors that open that you didn't know would open, because that will happen. Does that make sense?
Totally
So
makes sense.
you are just focused on this, but be alert of what's around you, because sometimes a door will open that it is meant for you and you didn't even know it. And that's what happened to me. Because no, that was not a dream or anything. I barely understood the world of a social media influencer, but it just happened to be that I got hired as an actress to be a villain for this other YouTube channel. And that the power, it was a Power Rangers parody, and it just exploded. It got millions of views, and I just saw an opportunity there and just wondered, what can I do to be part of this? You know what I mean? So yeah, that I became an influencer as kind of, it was not planned, but I saw an opportunity and I took it, and I love it so much. It gives me a lot of joy. So I'm so glad that I noticed there was a door there. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. And it's like you say, you mentioned a little bit and you before going on air that it's not just something nice to do.
Mhm.
It's an actual job. You can make money out of this, but you enjoy
Yes,
it.
correct. You know what's funny? My kids, I told them I'm about to start a YouTube channel. Again, this is end of 2018, and my kids are like, "What, mom? You're gonna be a YouTuber?" You like, they are like, there's no way. They're thinking in their mind that's what kids do. You know what I mean?
Right.
And why would mom like what? And then I'm like, I'll show them, not in a mean way, but in a
Mhm.
way as just for them to see that they can keep pursuing stuff even if they think, you know what I mean?
Totally.
So I didn't mean it in a negative way as I'll show them, but no, 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 I'll show them that I can.
Sure.
And so they were very happy to see that my channel was growing and it actually was working, and then I make money with it. It's not a hobby. It is a hobby, but it's my career. It's my job. I make money with it.
Totally. No,
Mm,
I totally understand you. I want to say that it's so inspiring, uh, not just to me, but I'm sure it's extremely inspiring to so many people out there because just understanding, where you come from and your story, uh and if I put myself in your place at that age, and I look forward, I would have never guessed. I would
mm,
have become everything that you are, not just an actress, but a marketer person, an influencer. It's
mm,
almost like a woman that nothing is too hard or too far away to be able to be achieved if you really go for it. And that is such an inspiring thing. Women have like this inner fire, that they'll do anything for their family and their kids. They're so strong. Women are so strong. They're so
mhm,
decisive on make it or die trying. But I
mm,
love it, and I think that that's something that every single person, not just business owners, need to have, because we're here to make an impact. We're not supposed to just breathe, you know grow and die.
no.
Every single person here has an opportunity to become anything they want, but they need to believe it, and they
Mhm,
need to just not listen to anybody kind of going,
no.
I don't think so. Really? Have you looked at yourself in the mirror? Or anything like that. And I just love your story because it's so inspiring.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And I really hope that my story can inspire others, because I am here to say that you can do it. Every time that I decided I would do it, I did. Sometimes it takes more than what you thought, but at the end of the day, what matters is if you actually just do it. Just
Hmm.
do it.
Hmm.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, and do not listen to naysayers.
I love it. I
Mhm.
love it. Yes. Okay. Good. So, to recap, right?
Yes.
Have a dream,
Hmm.
go for it.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what it is, uh,
Mm.
but everything that you need to achieve it, it's already inside you. You just need to, let it out by believing, by getting experience, by practicing, by never looking back and just pushing forward and not listening to anybody else that doesn't believe in you or doesn't think you're going to be able to make it. It's just, and once you have achieved something, go for another goal and never give up.
And be aware of doors that open, because as you are moving forward and doing the right things, doors will open, and things that you didn't even think can happen, but be aware of it. That's a big one.
Great. Good. So be aware. Always be aware for new opportunities,
Hmm.
and new chances to do things that you like or maybe that you didn't think you were going to do. Uh-huh.
And don't be afraid, because, for instance, becoming a YouTuber at my age, yes, I was afraid. I'm like, this is a business maybe for a younger person, right? But then I'm like, no, 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 no. Then I'm acting like that naysayer, if that's
Hmm.
what I'm saying, that it's too late for me or that I'm too old for that.
Hmm.
And so I had to do a lot of research to figure out what what YouTubers do. And I had to learn that there's formulas that work and all these things. And sometimes it's out of our comfort zone, Itu, to have to learn something new. But we have to always be evolving, because this world changes so much.
Hmm.
And not be afraid and stay stuck in what you learned back 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So so I had to just not be afraid to learn new things.
I love that too.
Mhm.
Anyway, wow, that was so good.
Mhm.
I think that you said so many things that are so valuable and that actually will help each one, in a different way to whoever needs it. And all combined, it just makes a nice wrapped, beautiful golden package.
Mhm.
So I thank you very much,
Thank
Carla. It
you.
was great having you here. I love it. I love listening to your story. Honest to God,
Thank
it's very inspiring. My God, the things that you've achieved, the way that you have done it. I love it, girl. I love it. You're amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you having me here.
Yes, we love doing this because this is for helping people. So do
Mhm.
not to all of you watching this or listening to this, I just want to say, Carla is right. Just go for your dreams no matter what. She did it. You heard her story, so I think anybody can do it. I mean, we've had so many stories in these episodes are just so inspiring. So do not forget, just let the fires burn, and once they're burning, make them burn even higher. Achieve everything that you want because you can do it and we believe in you. Ain't that right, Carla?
That is correct. Thank you
I,
so much for having me. And I invite everybody to follow your dreams and to not let anything get in the way. Just ask yourself, am I happy with what I'm doing? And if you're not, find something that will give you joy.
that is fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Carla. And we'll be seeing you in the next episode. Find out what we've got in store for more stories, tips, and tricks. Do not forget to check us out at expandifiers.com and stay tuned for more inspiration. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Carla. Don't go. I want to talk to you just a bit more. Thank
Okay.
you. See you all, guys. Bye bye.